up, nation? Hope you're having an awesome Monday. My name is Philip DeFranco, and this is where I talk about news, tap stuff, and things that matter to me today. Welcome. And a quickie update before we jump into everything for the next 24 hours or until they sell out, which they usually do pretty fast. The Right to Bear Arms t-shirts are back, so link to that down below. But let's jump into the first story of the day. And the first thing I want to talk about today is yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, and I just imagine that if you're Irish, you get maybe a little bit angry because the day is supposed to be this big feast and it's celebration of Irish culture, Irish heritage, Christianity. It's recognized by the Catholic Church, but somehow that holiday, at least in the United States, has turned into leprechauns and aggressive drinking. Personally, I don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day because I'm not Irish, and I don't really like being a part of holidays that glorify drinking. Now, as an American, glorify eating, I'm part of that thing. But that's because at the end of that day, I can only hate myself for the things that I put in my mouth. While with a holiday about drinking, I'm surrounded by a bunch of drunk dudes, and nothing ever good has happened from that. What? You're super drunk and you have a lot of energy? Awesome, let's break things. And or get into a fight in a New York McDonald's. I like that as soon as you see that it is a vertical video, you're like, oh, shit's about to get real. Because one, that person did not have enough time to fucking turn their phone, which is really easy to do. Or two, that person is too stupid to realize they should turn that phone, and stupid people usually hang out with other stupid people. Now, it seems like there's no reason for this fight. I like to imagine that it's because someone was like, what do you mean the McRib's not back? And that's why they constantly bring it back. It's less of an extensive marketing plan and more of just a public service to appease those people that like cardboard with fake grill marks. There was also a fight on the streets of New York where someone got thrown into traffic and then people start swinging. And the super main point of that story is stupid is stupid. That's really all I got out of it. Then an update to the EA Maxis SimCity story where, we showed a modder actually being able to play offline. Well, now that all the evidence is in front of everyone, they finally admitted, yes, it could have been offline. Maxis developer Lucy Bradshaw just came out and said it, that yes, we could have, but it did not fit the artistic vision of EA and Maxis. Could we have built a subset offline mode? Yes. That it was all a design choice, that, this SimCity was all about working with other people. And I have to admit, that is one of my favorite things about SimCity, but you should not have to force people to do that. This is just their thinly veiled way of getting DRM shoved down our throat. And that is never more apparent until you see how easy the modder community found out how to make offline mode a thing. They didn't have to go in and hack things and recode things. They literally took 2 lines of code found in SimCity, removed them, and it worked offline. Those 2 lines of code alerting you after 15 minutes and just kicking you out of the game after 20. The only negative is that when you do want to save, you do need to get to an internet connection. Right now, modders are trying to find a redirection so you can save to hard drive rather than on the cloud. And all it really shows us is they lied. It's bullshit. And at the end of the day, what you have is a really stupid move on the part of EA. Like, why would you make such a big deal about it being online? Online only, and make all these claims when the internet has lots of really smart people. Like, you may not be able to tell off like a random YouTube video, the comments just fucking stupid. You tell people on the internet it can only be one way, and they will figure out 20 different ways to make it a different way. Then I want to share some really awesome videos that you should check out after this show, other than Table Talk, which is the other show that I do every single day that I do a Philip DeFranco show, link to that down below. The first video is of 26-year-old Amy, who is deaf since birth, and she all of a sudden gets one of those ear implants. She hears her son's voice.
Hi, Mom.
Talk a little louder. You did me good.
Hi, Mom.
You have to talk really loud.
Hi, Mom.
And I became confused because I didn't know you could sweat from your eyes. Then 2 Game of Thrones, oh my god. March 31st cannot come soon enough. They released a trailer which oddly has like the Tron Legacy music, but it is still awesome. Also, fun side fact, Game of Thrones contacted me and they're sending me something. I don't know what it is. I'm hoping it's a dragon. But as soon as I get and I find out what the hell it is, I'll let you guys know. Or are there other Game of Thrones fans out there? I've gone to things and everyone's like, yeah, and I've gone to things like, what is the game of, what, a game of what? And I'm like, oh, we can't be friends, that's right. And 3, the video for Insane Office Escape 2, it is awesome, but I might have to update the links in the description. It's been removed from YouTube several times because it does look violent. Like 7 seconds in, they simulate shooting someone in the head, someone gets stabbed. Then of course, because after violence you need sex, these ladies show up and then it continues. Definitely check it out, it's one of my favorite videos from today. Then in news that's awesome if you ever like, man, Earth sucks, I wish I could go to Mars. Bas Lansdorp, the man behind the space project of Mars One, it's the whole private venture, he said he's ready to give people a ticket to Mars, saying the technology to get humans to Mars and keep them alive there exists. The technology to bring humans from Mars back to Earth simply does not exist yet. We're looking for people who are utterly dependable, good in groups, and at their best when things are at their worst. So if you did get one of these tickets to Mars, you should know that you're going to stay there. It's kind of an understood thing. It's privately funded. No one has a moon base where we can launch rockets from yet. As of right now, the timeline is, now look for people that potentially will go to Mars. Then give them 8 years of training. Then September 2022, send those people people to Mars. I just can't decide if it's awesome or crazy. Actually, you know, those things don't have to be exclusive. This is awesome crazy. And crazy awesome. I mean, it's no different than explorers back in the day taken to the open sea, not sure what was in front of them. And if it actually happens, that's awesome. Now, if you want to find out more about it, link to it down below. You crazy son of a bitch. And then let's talk about the huge update in the Steubenville High rape case. I talked about it last Wednesday. It's a 16-year-old girl. She goes to a party. She may have possibly been drugged. She blacks out. There are pictures online of her just being completely trashed, people literally having to carry her. She's taken to several parties. She's sexually assaulted in a basement. Someone took a picture over her passed out body. And the update is both Trent Mays and Malik Richmond have been found guilty of rape. Malik could be released from a juvenile rehabilitation facility by the age of 21, while Mays could be locked up until the age of 24. The reason for this is they were both Myers. Trent is 17, Malik was 16. But what I was really surprised about was how CNN reported the story. The back and forth was between CNN host Candy Crowley and reporter Poppy Harlow, who instead of talking about the victim, talking about, I don't know, a punishment for a crime, talked about how these boys' promising lives had been ruined. CNN played video of Malik standing up and it seemingly talking to the family and everyone in the courtroom saying that he was sorry. And he started crying and he hugged his lawyer. Crowley chiming in that she cannot imagine how emotional the sentencing must have been. While Poppy said how it was incredibly difficult to see these two young men who had such promising futures, star football players, very good students, literally watched as they believed their life fell apart. And then Crowley, rather than talking about this girl who was gang raped while she was unconscious, rather than that, she asks a guest about what are the lasting effects of getting a rape charge. And the guest responds, but in terms of what happens now, the most severe thing with these young men is being labeled as registered sex offenders. That label is now placed on them by Ohio law. That will haunt them for the rest of their lives. Which in my opinion should have been followed by fucking cheers. I am not happy to see someone's life destroyed, asterisk, unless they fucking destroyed someone else's. If we don't treat these criminals like criminals, the whole point of this goes away. That if someone, whether it be a girl or a male, cannot say yes or no, that's a no. 'Cause otherwise, that's rape. And CNN should feel ashamed trying to show their viewers like, oh, these poor boys. They're just poor boys who committed a violent act. Like watching it, I was like, is this an onion piece? I was ready for the wordplay like, yes, John, it seems like their lives were raped. And worst of all, just moments after their life rape, it was all over the internet and TV. All because one 16-year-old girl got so drunk that she passed out, and we all know, you see a passed out girl, you have to have sex with her, that's the rules. And I guess the main point is, I think a rapist should be treated like a rapist. This should haunt them for the rest of their days, because what they did to this girl will follow her till the end of hers. But Nation, that's really everything I wanted to talk about. It brings us to the question of the day today, which is, do you feel bad at all for either of these kids, or you think even more people that were involved should have been punished? And also, why? Remember to possibly be pelted with $50 worth of stuff from forhumanpeoples.com. Leave a comment down below. Join the conversation. Maybe hit the like button, favorite if you really like it. And a big thanks to the sponsor of today's show, audiblepodcast.com/PhillyD. You use that URL, you sign up, you get a free audiobook. But guys, as always, my name is Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love your faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.